Alright guys, what's up everyone? Fisher Gaming Remastered here, and I'm back for an episode of NASCAR Heat Evolution. Alright, so actually a couple nights ago I tried downloading Destiny. As you can see, I'm a level 1 and not much speed points because well, my shit got reset when I was playing Destiny, or when I was actually trying to download Destiny, so yeah. So let's go to AJ Allmendinger here. So we've got his primary paint scheme, his throwback, his Bush's chili beans, and then his Bush's best car. For Eric Almirola, got his throwback to Richard Petty. He's fresh from Florida, Waffle House, U.S. Air Force, which he ran at the Coke 0400 at Daytona. His STP car, which I think he raced that at Martinsville in the spring, and I think he raced that again at Kansas, I can't remember. Michael Annette as his Allstate Peterbilt group, and his throwback. It's just a throwback. But anyway, for Trevor Bayne, we got his Advocare, his throwback to Mark Martin, and this is the paint scheme he raced in the Coke 600 at Charlotte. And his Advocare Spark Ford, I forgot when he raced that one, but yeah. Anyway, let's go with Greg Biffle here. He got his Cheez-It Ford, his KFC Ford, which I'm pretty sure he raced at Kentucky. His Ford EcoBoost, he raced that at Auto Club Speedway, and he raced that in the Coke 0400 at Daytona. You got his Hooters, his throwback to Alan Kulwicki, Performance Plus motor oil. Shit, I forgot when he raced that. Anyways, Roush Performance, the last time he raced this was actually in Homestead. I forgot what else he raced that. I think his Nissan Fuel Ford, I think he raced that at Loudon. I don't know off the top of my mind, but anyway, Ryan Blaney with his Motorcraft, and then his throwback to David Pearson, and then his blue paint scheme. And then he got his SKF Ford, which he raced at Phoenix. So, yep, Clint Boyer. There's his primary sponsor. Sterile Vicene. I'm pretty sure he did not race this at Auto club. That was some other race, I forgot one. But yeah, there's his throwback to Benny Parsons. His Aaron's car that he ran in Atlanta. It's AccuDoc Solutions. He raced that at Talladega in the spring. I know he raced that at the Brickyard, so. And his Peak Antifreeze and Coolant, he raced that at, he raced that at Auto Club. Oh. So let's go to Chris Buescher. So we got his CSX, his throwback. Then his Chase paint scheme, and then his Dockside Logistics LLC, whatever. His Dockside Logistics. He actually won with this car at Pocono in August. And that was a rain-shortened race, which got Chris Buescher in the chase. So yeah, then we got Kurt Busch, his Haas. That is round of 16. There's his throwback. I forgot what his throwback was to. There's his round of 12. His State Water Heaters, round of 8. His round of 8 Haas car, and then there's just his State Water Heaters car. I forgot when he raced that. Kyle Busch, he got his M&M celebrating 75 years. Skittles. There's his round of 16 Skittles car. There's his throwback to Dale Jarrett. Then his M&M's red, white, and blue. He raced that at the Coke 600 at Charlotte. There's his Banfield Pet Hospital that he raced at the Spring in Richmond when he finished second to Carl Edwards. There's his round of 8 M&M's Halloween. Snickers Halloween. His round of 12 Snickers Halloween. Let's see, there's his there's that new paint scheme that he got at the start of the chase. There's his round of 12 M&M's paint scheme. It's round of 12 Interstate Batteries paint scheme, round of 16 M&M's paint scheme. But I think what they're missing is what else they're missing is a round of 16 Interstate Batteries paint scheme, or I don't know, because I don't even know if Kyle Busch actually raced Interstate Batteries car at Dover this year. I know he did last year, but I don't know about this year. Oh shit, whoops. Let's get caught up here. Okay, so then there's this Championship 4 paint scheme. That would have sucked ass for Kyle if he would have had to finish 4th in points. But there's this round of 8 paint scheme. There's Pedigree, which he raced in the spring at Dover, but got involved in that crash on the restart with Jimmy Johnson. Just completely fucking up on a restart. There's his, that's his M&M's paint scheme that he raced in the chase, but that's not the exact paint scheme. Like, then there's his Interstate Batteries car. He raced that in Texas in the spring. He raced that in the Coke 0400 at Daytona, all that. And there's a Snickers Crisper, which he raced that at Watkins Glen. Landon Castle. Oh, you're not gonna freaking little bitch. So there's his there's Landon Castle with his I think that's his paint scheme for Phoenix. There's his throwback to JD McDuffie. His freight auctions, which he raced in Atlanta, and then his MDS car he raced that at Las Vegas. Matt DiBenedetto with his Cosmo Motors. His Dustless Blasting, raced that in the Daytona 500. That was his paint scheme in the Daytona 500, but he didn't race the 83. That was Michael Waltrip in the 83, so Matt DiBenedetto raced the 93. Oh, whoops. And then you got his EJ Wade Construction, his paint scheme for the Food City, or the Spring Bristol race, when Matt DiBenedetto got his best career finish. Got 6th at Bristol in the spring, so that was a good day for him. There's his throwback, his Orange Crush Soda. Hope for the Warriors. I know he raced that in the Coke 600, but I don't know if he raced that in the Coke Zero. Sorry about that, that's my dog. Oh shit, whoops. Sorry about that, Jax. What do you want? Okay. So then we have the Anis Dewada. Forgot when he raced that. I don't know, my dog just wants some attention bad. Anyway, that's the sponsor that he raced in Homestead, but that's not the exact paint scheme and the exact number. The paint scheme that he raced at Homestead was orange, and his number was 49 because Jeffrey Earnhardt took the 83 car. You got his Mass Markets and MCI company. There's a Science Logic Toyota Camry, Schluter Systems, the Suwannee Tigers, Scorpion Crossbows, and his Vector Security, Austin Dillon. Oh shit. Well, okay, okay, so there's his Dow. His throwback. Shit, man. Anyway, then you got his Cheerios car. His Dow's, Dow, whatever. God damn. Go. Okay, so that's his round of 16. There's his... I forgot when he raced that one. I don't even know if that's even in his paint scheme or not. There's his Bass Pro Shops NRA Museum sponsor that he raced in the Coke 0400 at Daytona. That's the car, by the way, where he had that nasty accident that somehow he walked away from last year in the Coke Zero at Daytona. So there's his AAA.com. He raced that in Dover in the spring. There's his E15 American Ethanol. There's a round of 12 Dow Kills Chevrolet. It's E15 American Ethanol, but the pink paint scheme because that was for breast cancer, so that was a round of 12. Round of 16, there's his AAA.com car that he raced at Dover. He raced a Pumpkin Spice Cheerios car at Loudon. Yeah. So we got Dale Earnhardt Jr., you got his Nationwide Insurance, his TaxSlayer.com. I know he raced that in the Sprint Unlimited and ended up crashing. So there's his Throwback, which I think Jeff Gordon raced that car. Yeah, I think Jeff Gordon raced that car. There's his All-Star Race paint scheme. There's his patriotic paint scheme that he ran in Charlotte. His Exalta car, which Jeff Gordon ended up racing that paint scheme, and shit. Oh damn. I think Jeff Gordon ended up driving the 88 for Junior at Indianapolis, Pocono, Watkins Glen, Bristol. And then he said that Bristol was going to be his last start, but then he came back in Darlington and Richmond. And then he came back again in the chase at Martinsville. But yeah. So for the Indianapolis through Bristol, those 4 races, Gordon drove the Exalta car. And then you got Dale Jr.'s Mountain Dew Decision 2016 car that he raced in the spring at Richmond. Carl Edwards with his Aris Toyota, his Subway, which he raced in the Auto Club 400. God, the Auto Club 500 was over a while ago, like 6-7 years ago. Anyway, so Carl Edwards with the Subway Toyota that he raced at Auto Club and the Coke Zero 400 at Daytona. Stanley car, he's raced that quite a bit this year. See, there's his round of 16. And there's his Aris, throwback to Tony Stewart in 1999. There's his Aris surfboard, his All-Star Race paint scheme. There's his Comcast business that he actually won that at Carl Edwards won the spring race at Bristol with that sponsor and paint scheme. And there's his Xfinity sponsor that he won in Richmond with the last lap pass over Kyle Busch. There's Carl Edwards' Aris surfboard again, and then there's his Sport Clips, which he actually won the race at Texas in the fall. He won the AAA Texas 500, which that was rain shortened, but it wasn't in this exact paint scheme. Although this paint scheme he did race in Loudon, I think it had to have been. So there's Carl Edwards' round of 12 Stanley car, his round of 16 Aris surfboard, round of 16 Comcast business. What the fudge? Yeah, I think he had to have ran that at maybe Loudon, probably. There's Edwards' Xfinity sponsor. He had to have raced that at had to have been at Charlotte. And then there's Carl Edwards with his round of 8 Sport Clips paint scheme that he ran at Martinsville. So Edwards ran that at Martinsville and in Texas, which Carl Edwards won at Texas with his paint scheme. And then there's his Stanley round of 8. There's his Subway round of 12 that he had to have ran that at Talladega. But yeah. So for Chase Elliott, we got his Napa, his 3M. First time he raced that paint scheme was at Martinsville. And then you got his Throwback. Then there's his round of 16 Napa paint scheme. There's his Mountain Dew Baja Blast that he ran at the spring in Richmond. His Sun Energy 1, he raced that in the Coke Zero 400 at Daytona. There's his patriotic Napa car that he ran in Charlotte for the Coke 600. There's his round of 12 3M car that he ran at Charlotte when he got involved in a crash on the restart. There's his Napa car from the Talladega race. There's his round of 16 Mountain Dew. And his round of 12 Sun Energy 1, which he raced that paint scheme at Kansas in the chase. So yeah. We got Denny Hamlin with this FedEx Express, FedEx Ground, FedEx Express round of 16, Sport Clips, throwback, or that was a throwback to, shit, I don't want to say Kelly Oberon, and I don't want to say Darrell Waltrip. I don't know. Anyway, there's a Sport Clips paint scheme, FedEx Office. There's his, and this is what really confused me on this, is because his FedEx Office, his original FedEx Office paint scheme is blue, alright? And then when you put in the Chase paint schemes, his FedEx Office has the orange paint scheme like the FedEx Express paint scheme. So I think that's something Dusenberry Martin needs to work on a little bit. It could be, they could just release an update, like a patch for the paint schemes. So like for the FedEx Office, Ground, Freight. Because, yeah, this is his FedEx Office paint scheme for the round of 12. It's Express for round of 12. The Express is actually accurate. But the FedEx Ground, the Freight, the Office, the FedEx Office, like, FedEx Office, it's not really accurate. Because the FedEx Ground is supposed to have the green paint scheme like it's supposed to. The FedEx Freight is supposed to have the red paint scheme, and then FedEx Office would have the blue. And there's his actual FedEx Freight paint scheme that he actually ran that at Phoenix and Martinsville. Yeah. Anyway, let's go to Kevin Harvick with his Jimmy John's. His round of 16 Jimmy John's. There's his Outback Steakhouse and his Dietech Home Loans. There's his Jimmy John's round of 8 car, his round of 12 Jimmy John's car that he ran at Charlotte. It had to have been Charlotte. Because in his round of 12, he ran the Outback Steakhouse round of 12 paint scheme when he won at Kansas. There's his round of 16 Dietech Home Loans car, which he won at New Hampshire with. So Jimmy Johnson, you got his Lowe's. His round of 16 Lowe's cars, Cobalt, his throwback to Dale Earnhardt Sr., his Lowe's Red Vest, which he ran that at the Brickyard. There's his yellow number 48, his Lowe's Pro Services. Jimmy Johnson Foundation, which he raced at Sonoma. Then his Patriotic Lowe's car, which he ran at. He had to have ran that at the Coke 600, and I know for a fact he ran that at the Coke 0400 at Daytona because I watched it, and he got involved in the crash with Jamie McMurray. So then you got his round of 8 Cobalt that he raced at Phoenix. His round of 8 Lowe's car. I think he raced. There's a round of 12 Pro Services, which he won at Charlotte with. Then is this his round of 12 Lowe's car. Championship 4 Lowe's car, which he won at Homestead to get his 7th championship. So yeah, that's... Yeah. Eric Jones, just got those. Casey Kane got his Farmer's Insurance, his Panasonic Toughbook, which he ran in Atlanta. He ran the Mountain Dew Pitch Black car in the spring race at Richmond, along with Chase Elliott with his Mountain Dew Baja Blast, and Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s Decision car. There's Ben Kennedy's Jacob Construction. Matt Kenseth with his Dollar General. His DeWalt Patriotic car, he ran that at Las Vegas. And I think he ran that at Auto Club also. And then there's his round of 16 Dollar General car. There's his Tide throwback to Darrell Waltrip, but first it was a throwback to Ricky Craven or something. There's his DeWalt FlexVolt, which he ran in the Coke 0400 at Daytona. I remember this because, once again, I watched it, and he was involved in the... I don't know how many cars were involved in the crash, but it had to have been like half the field. Yeah, there's his round of 8 paint scheme, which Kenseth ran that at he ran that at Texas. And I think it was Martinsville, Texas. Then there's his round of 12 car, which he ran at, he had to have ran it at Kansas and Talladega. His round of 12 Dollar General car, he raced that at Charlotte, finished second to Johnson. There's his DeWalt Flex Volt round of 16 car, which he ran at Chicagoland with. There's his round of $8 general car where he actually had the lead and could have possibly won at Phoenix in that race, but Alex Bowman ended up taking him out on one of the restarts, and yeah, Kenseth got screwed. So we got Brad Keselowski with his Brad K sponsor. I would have had his Miller Lite paint scheme in there, but I don't know, just age verification shit got fucked up. So anyway, the round of 16, there's his paint scheme for the round of 16. There's his Alliance truck parts, which he ran at, I don't want to say Las Vegas. I don't remember. He ran that at Watkins Glen and Sonoma ahead of it. But his Thomas built buses, he ran that at the spring race in Richmond. His SKF car, I think he could have raced that at Michigan. Not entirely. What the fuck? No. Okay, that was accidental. There's his round of 16 paint scheme of the paint scheme. Lines. What the fuck? Okay. Oh, there we go. All right. There's his Detroit Genuine Parts Ford that he raced, and he actually won with that paint scheme in the Coke Zero at 400 at Daytona. And his Worth car he races like pretty much every year at Auto Club Speedway now. There's his round 12 paint scheme. I think with the Worth car he probably ran that at Charlotte and maybe Talladega, I don't know. And there's his Auto Trader car, which I think he ran that at Bristol in the spring, not entirely sure. But yeah, Bobby Labonte. So we got his Rimrod Devlin. Forgot when he raced that. Carolina. I don't know. I think that was supposed to be his Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles car, but then you got his Keen Parts, Corvette, whatever. Bentley Saloon. And yeah. We got Kyle Larson with his round 16 Target, paint schemes, glad to give. Joey Logano, so you got his round of 16 Shell Pennzoil. His throwback to, fuck, I don't know who that throwback was to, but this paint scheme raced at Kansas in the spring, his yellow Pennzoil car. I think he raced that at Charlotte. There's his Auto Club paint scheme. And his yellow Pennzoil for the round of 12. And there's his Auto Trader that he definitely ran in the spring at Bristol. Yeah, and then we got Michael McDowell with his K-Love car, his throwback to Richard Childress, his Rat Rods. I don't remember when he raced that, but it's something good. And there's his Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles sponsor, which he ran at Chicagoland for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 400. So yeah, and then we got Jamie McMurray with his Cessna Beechcraft. It's McDonald's Cessna. There's his throwback to Bill Elliott. There's his round of 16 paint scheme that he raced at, he had to race at Loudon and Dover. Had to have been Loudon and Dover. But yeah, Jamie McMurray, he raced this paint scheme in Atlanta. There's his Sherwin-Williams 15th year anniversary, whatever. I think he raced that at the Fall in Richmond. And there's his Credit One Bank round of 16 paint scheme that he raced at Chicagoland. And there's this Credit One Bank, which he raced in the Coke Zero 400 at Daytona. I remember this because, like I said, him and Jimmy Johnson got involved in the big crash halfway through the race, so yeah. Paul Menard. Nothing really new for him. Ryan Newman, let's see. You got his Granger. At Granger. His Wix filters, there we go. There's his Wix filters. That's a sponsor that's been with him for a while. Danica Patrick, or throwback, Tax Act, which she raced at Auto Club Speedway when Casey Kane turned her in the wall, and yeah, it was a pretty nasty fucking crash for her. Aspen Dental, I think she raced that at Homestead. She had to, I don't know. Anyway, David Reagan with his Dr. Pepper. is Shriners Hospital. It's throwback. This paint scheme he raced in the Coke 600 at Charlotte. There's his Weaver Media. I think he raced out of Michigan. And there's his Brandy's Machinery. The Sweet Frog, he raced that in both Richmond races, had to have been. And then his USA Wii, the Bold. I don't know. And then there's his, oh shit, hold on. There's his Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles paint scheme that he ran at Chicagoland. Brian Scott with his Goodies Mixed Fruit Blast, which he raced at Martinsville in his medallion car. I think he raced that at Bristol in the fall. Had to have been. Then we got Regan Smith with his NACO, whatever. There's his throwback to Alan Kulwicki, his Advanced Auto Parts by Quaker State. Let's see. That one he raced at Kentucky. It's Thomas the Tank Engine. I don't know when he raced that. And there's his Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles paint scheme, which he raced at Chicagoland. His Fire Alarm Services. I forgot when he raced that, but yeah. Then we go to Ricky Stenhouse Jr. with his Fastenal. And then we got his Ford EcoBoost that he raced in Atlanta. There's his throwback to, I want to say Darrell Waltrip, probably not. And there's a Sunny D car that he ran in Dover and got involved in a crash when Jimmy Johnson fucked up the restart. His Fifth Third Bank that he raced, I think he raced that at Talladega. I know he raced that in Talladega in the spring because Kevin Harvick had a fucking nasty crash, almost flipped over. Kevin Harvick would have been the third car to flip over in that race. And there's Ricky Stenhouse Jr.'s Zest car. Glad to have it. Glad to have that. So that actually looks pretty fucking good. Don't get me wrong, that fucking paint scheme looks good. That's probably my favorite one. Yeah. So we go to Tony Stewart with his Mobile 1. His round of 16 paint schemes, Code 3 Associates, which he raced that paint scheme at Sonoma when he won over Denny Hamlin. His Rush Truck Centers, which he raced at when did he race that? I don't know. I think he raced that at Auto Club. I know he had to have. And there's his Rush Truck Centers round of 16 car. I think he raced that at Loudon because his Code 3 Associates. I think he raced that at Dover. So then his Mobile 1 round of 16, he probably raced at Chicagoland. Matt Tifft does the 3 new paint schemes. That was for his return to NASCAR. And we got Martin Truex Jr. with his Bass Pro Shops Toyota Camry. He won with that car. Like with this car, he won at the Coke 600 at Charlotte. There's Furniture Row car, which he raced in Atlanta and a couple other races. Round of 16 paint scheme, which he won at Chicagoland and Dover with that. There's his Auto Owners Insurance, which he won with that car at Darlington for the throwback weekend. There's his Auto Owners, which he won with that paint scheme at, or no, he didn't win with, what the fuck am I don't know. He raced that at the Brickyard, yeah, so then there's his Bass Pro Shops Trekker Boats round of 12 car, which he raced at Talladega and ended up with the engine failure and ended up missing the round of 8. Like, fucking horribly. There's his Furniture Row car he raced at Charlotte, and his Furniture Row Mako, which he had to have raced at Kansas. And his Tanger Outlets, which he raced in the fall at Richmond. So yeah, that's the paint schemes. So if you like this video, please leave a like, subscribe, share, whatever. Also, whoever has NASCAR Heat Evolution, be sure to purchase the 4 pit passes. Alright, pit pass 1 is $15, pit pass 2 and 3 are both $10, and pit pass 4 is $7 on PlayStation Store, Xbox Marketplace, whatever. If you're a PlayStation member, it's PlayStation Store. Xbox member, it's Xbox Marketplace. But anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video.